Now, to get into the actual layout of the structure, we wanted to go with something that is impactful, yet simple enough as to not overcomplicate it. So we went with the following structure. It includes 3 bedrooms, 1 master and 2 normal rooms, each with its own bathroom, a living room, a kitchen with a big enough area to act as a dining area as well, a TV room, an office area, a storage area, and finally a garage that's big enough to fit 2 cars. Now for this Revit and Navisworks software usage, we will look at them simultaneously, thus showing the process followed through Revit while at the same time looking at the assumptions made with regards to the activity logic. It is important to note that there's a good number of overlap in activity sequence, as most of the time some of these activities will start as soon as possible. So for example, as soon as there are 6 foundations and they've had their time to cure, then the construction on the neck columns will begin. This is done to provide the smallest time frame possible for the project. So beginning on Revit, we started by drawing the elevations and grid lines. And for the elevations, we went with the roof, the bottom of the beams, the ground surface slab level, the slab bottom, and the top and bottom of the footing. Now, for the foundations, we went with an isolated footing system, and it was laid out as follows. And the logic behind the construction time was that every 4 foundations needed 3 days in total of construction. So that's 2 days for steel and formwork fixing, and then 1 day for casting. For the neck columns, in terms of the timeline, they sort of follow the foundations. However, please note that it's every 6 columns will need the 3 days. So 2 days of steel and formwork, and then 1 day of casting. Moving up to the floor and the beams, each floor and beam system, each section of the slab needed 4 days in total, 3 for steel and 1 for casting, and they were grouped in the same activity as they will be cast together ultimately. Next, the main columns, it's just every 3 main columns you have 2 days for total construction time, so 1 day for steel and formwork and then 1 day for casting. And finally, the beams and the roof, they follow the exact same logic as the floor beams and the roof. Finally, using Navisworks, we integrated the Revit model with the activity network, providing the following sequence of work. Now, this was done not only to check the logic of the activities that we chose, but also to make sure that no column is raised before its preceding foundation, for example. Now, it also helped us in detecting any incorrect inputs when it came down to the durations or the beginning and start dates. This was because that, for example, we didn't want a floating slab to appear.